The first of our 9-move, 10-minute mobility routine for athletes is going to be the Shin on wall quad stretch. And when we say athletes, we're talking about anyone that lives a physically demanding and active lifestyle. We'll go over our overall rationale behind this 9-move total body routine later on in this video, but let's just jump right into it. So for this move, you're gonna want a pad or a rolled up yoga mat or a pillow to protect your knee. From there, you're gonna place your shin directly against the wall and stride your other foot forward. The Shin on wall quad stretch, also known as a couch stretch, is an incredible hip opener that mobilizes the backside hip while the front side hip is flexed up, which is a crucial pattern for athletes. Once you're in the top position, you're gonna wanna squeeze this backside glute and push your hips forward for a couple seconds before returning back to the starting position. The best part about this stretch is that it can easily progress or regress depending on your level. So you can be all the way up here with your front foot elevated if you'd like, or you can drop down lower with your torso position, or you can move your shin further away from the wall, or you can even rest your foot on a bench instead of the wall and you'll still get the same benefit. Pick the variation that meets you where you're at and do this move for 45 seconds on each side.
The second move is an incline pigeon, and ideally you want an incline bench for this move, but I'll show you how to make it work with a flat bench in a little bit. Set the incline bench at a low angle, rest your shin on the bench, and lower yourself into position. Hold there for about 2 to 3 seconds before coming back up. You've probably seen the classic pigeon stretch on the floor, but we feel that position can often be too demanding for people, and it can be a little bit bothersome on the knee. The incline pigeon allows you to get really deep into this position of hip external rotation, gets a really good stretch through the glute, and it alleviates any discomfort in the knee. If you don't have access to an incline bench, you can still use a flat bench. You can just use a rolled up yoga mat or some pads and basically place it underneath your knee and shin, and then drop into position that way. Do this move for 45 seconds on each side, and your hips will thank you.
Before we get into the remaining 7 moves, let's just briefly touch upon why mobility training is important for athletes, as well as for those living a physically demanding lifestyle. When you live a sedentary lifestyle, you really don't need that much mobility.
But if you live an active lifestyle or play a sport, you're inevitably going to end up in positions that you normally don't get exposed to in everyday life.
If you don't expose your body to positions that can experience in your sport or in your everyday life, that's how injuries can happen or an overall reduction in ability and performance. So the moves in this sequence target all the major joints in your body and make sure that you're prepared for whatever life or your sport throws at you.
All right, let's get back into it with move 3, the hip internal rotation, lift off. You're gonna set up with your front hip at a 90-degree angle and your other hip flexed up toward the ceiling. From there, you're gonna lower this knee down toward the floor as far as you comfortably can. Now, if you can touch this knee all the way to the floor, I actually want you to try to lift this foot up off the floor. It might not move much, but just the act of trying to lift that foot off the floor is gonna create a lot of stimulus at this hip. Again, aim for 45 seconds on each side, either performing a range of motion that feels comfortable for you, or if you can, adding that lift off.
Move 4 is the box ankle mobilization. You can do this on any elevated surface like a box or a plyo bench. You just need something that you can wrap your hands around for increased leverage. You're gonna place one foot down, grab the outsides of the box, and simply glide your knee forward as far forward as you can without letting your heel pick up. Once you get to your end range, use your hands to pull yourself deeper into this stretch and simultaneously flex this anterior tibialis. Hold there for a few seconds before returning. Do this for 45 seconds on each side to unlock those stiff ankles and be a better mover.
Move number 5 is simply hanging from a bar. You're gonna hold on to a standard pull-up bar with either an overhand grip or a neutral grip and simply hold this position. This creates a ton of length in your lats, extends your T-spine, decompresses your spine, and improves your overall overhead mobility. You can easily modify this maneuver by using bands to assist you, or you can use an assisted pull-up machine. You're going to get 45 seconds of accumulated time here. So that might mean one straight set of 45 unbroken seconds, or it could mean 3 sets of 15 seconds or 9 sets of 5 seconds. Meet yourself where you're at and your strength and mobility will improve over time.
Move 6 is the Spiderman lunge with rotation. This move is also known as the world's greatest stretch, and I agree. We do this before any athletic event because of how many areas of the body it hits and the fact that you don't need any equipment at all to do it. You're gonna set up on the floor in a push-up position. From here, you're gonna stride one foot as far forward as you can. Bring your forearm down towards your instep, then bring that arm back up toward the ceiling, hold it up high, then come back down, and then bring your leg back before switching sides. At the bottom, really make sure to get your chest up tall, exhale, and lengthen the back leg as much as possible. Also, drive the knee of the front leg out to the side to help you sink even lower. Now, if you can't get your foot all the way up to your hand just yet, that's totally fine. It can be here, and you can still get a ton of benefit. And if that's still too difficult of a position for you, just simply grab a box or a chair, place your hands upon it, and you'll have much more clearance for your leg to swing through. Alternate sides for 60 seconds total for this move.
Move 7 is the neck rotation. People always forget about the neck, but think about how crucial it is for you to be able to move your neck freely from side to side. Whether you're trying to track down a deep ball in football or frantically trying to keep an eye on both kids at a busy park, neck mobility is extremely important. I think we've all experienced pulling something in your neck or upper back and not being able to turn your head to one direction, so let's limit that as much as we can. Either in a kneeling, sitting, or standing position, you're gonna clasp your hands behind your back, roll your shoulders down and back, and then slowly start to bring your neck around in this big rotation. You'll get about 20 seconds in one direction and then 20 seconds in the other direction. Make sure you stay as relaxed as you can, pull your shoulders away from your ears, and breathe comfortably as you perform this drill.
Move 8 is the Cossack Squat. This move is fantastic at mobilizing the inner thighs, the hips, as well as your hamstrings. For this move, you're gonna get into a wide stance. You're gonna drop down laterally to one side, and as you're coming down, you're gonna bring this foot up towards the ceiling to sink down even further. From there, you can either stand back up and switch sides, or you can stay down and transfer from this low position to make the movement even more challenging. Now, this is a really advanced mobility move, so you can easily modify this by using a pair of TRX straps or by holding onto an upright for support and assistance. You're gonna alternate sides at a slow to moderate tempo for 60 seconds.
Last up is the Goblet Kang Squat. The Kang Squat is a great catch-all loaded mobility drill to address the posterior chain as well as improve your squat depth. You're gonna hold on to a kettlebell or a dumbbell and hold it tight to your chest. From there, hinge your hips back and up high as if you're performing a Romanian deadlift. This really targets your hips, hamstring, and overall posterior chain. From there, transition into the bottom of a goblet squat and get as low as you can. Open up your chest, push your knees out, and try to breathe and relax to get further into the squat. After a few seconds of that, shift back into the hinge position, stand up, and then alternate between those two positions. You'll do this at a slow to moderate tempo for 60 seconds total.
All right, so there you have it, a 10-minute total body mobility routine for athletes.
Remember, even if you don't necessarily play a sport, you're still an athlete if you're physically active.
So whether you're a parent or a gardener or a manual laborer, all the qualities in this video are really important to train.
We hope you enjoyed this video and we'll see you in the next one.